football fans, we are ready for NFL picks for week number 6 in the league where they play. For pay! Great to be back with you. The best audience in all of YouTube is right here. Week number 6 already. The NFL season is flying by. Getting tougher and tougher to pick games each week. So many things you got to go through. Who's out with the virus? Who's out with injuries? What quarterbacks are out? What coaches are getting in trouble? Bad fundamental football all over the league. It's getting tougher and tougher to pick these games. You are starting to see some separation, though. Who the contenders are and who the pretenders are. We'll try and sift through all of it. Now, at week number 6, we start the bye weeks already. 4 teams on a bye. Jets on a bye. They're down to 1-4. Lose to the Falcons in London. Play a dreadful first half. As far as I'm concerned, the Jets can take the rest of the year off. They can have a permanent bye. I mean, they had that one nice win against Tennessee, and then they played an awful first half against Atlanta. Couldn't catch up. Jets down to 1-4. They're on the bye. Falcons, I just mentioned them. They're up to 2-3. They're on a bye. Niners, they're down to 2-3. They're also on a bye. They're falling apart. Garoppolo out. The backup Lance out. He's going to miss time. Niners going in the wrong direction quickly. And the Saints on a bye. They're up to 3-2. Beat Washington. The Saints have been up and down this year. They were up this past Sunday. So those 4 teams on a bye. All right, let's get to it. Pick number 1. Let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Indianapolis Colts are -10 against the Houston Texans. Indianapolis down to 1-4, lost a heartbreaker to Baltimore last night. Lost a heartbreaker. Had that game sewed up, and Baltimore came storming back to win. Colt defense got tired. I thought Wentz played well in this game, threw over 400 yards. Colts have to be sick. They could have got up to 2-3. Now they're back to 1-4. That was a heartbreaking loss for the Colts. They dominated much of this game, let it get away in the fourth quarter and overtime. Texans, they're down to 1-4, lost to New England. The Texans were up 22-9 in this game. And then they tried that ridiculous, we're going to go for it, no, we're going to punt, no, we might go for it, we might punt. Did you see this play? They're up 22-9, it's like 4th and 2, I guess they're around midfield. Punter runs up like they're going to go for it, then he drops back, then he runs up, then he's kind of halfway in between, finally decides to punt the ball, and punts the ball into the back of his own lineman. Patriots, take the ball over from there. The game is never the same. Patriots win. Texans 1-4. Nice job, Texans. What in the world were the Texans and the coaching staff thinking there? Talk about overthinking. Punt the ball. You're up 22-9. You've had the game your own way the whole game. The whole game. Why would you give anything to New England there? You gave New England all the momentum. The game was never the same. Never the same. New England ends up winning. Terrible loss by the Texans. And listen, we don't expect much from them, but can you just punt the ball? Are we asking too much? Oh. And you saw this all over the league. Bad fundamental football. As far as this game, Indianapolis at home -10 against the Texans. Listen, 3-team teaser, move it to 1 and take Indianapolis. How could you possibly like the Texans? They'll find a way to muck it up. They'll find a way to mess it up. They don't have that much talent to begin with. The Colts have looked better the last 2 weeks. They're home. I can't see the Texans winning this game. For you 3-team teaser lovers, move it to 1. Take Indianapolis. That's pick number 1. Punt the ball, Houston. Pick number 2. Let's go to Baltimore, where Baltimore is playing 4 straight home games. They played home last night. They still have 3 more. You very rarely see that in the NFL where you get 4 straight home games. Remember, Baltimore played 3 of their first 4 on the road. Baltimore at home, -3.5 against the LA Chargers. This is a spectacular game, a must-watch game. Baltimore up to 4-1. I just mentioned they rallied to beat Indianapolis. Jackson played very well. Baltimore keeps getting it done. Despite all these people on injured reserve, Baltimore has intestinal fortitude. They're tough. They're gritty. Everyone on that roster can play. They don't give up. They have a lot of tradition with that Raven team. Really good job coming back because they were dead and buried in that game. Baltimore 4-1 despite all these injuries. How about the LA Chargers? They are also up to 4-1. Beat Cleveland in an absolutely wild game where neither defense could stop anybody. Up and down the field, crazy game. Chargers win it. Herbert looks like the real deal. This guy keeps getting better and better each and every week. I told you about him last year. He's playing even better this year. I mean, if you were going to pick one quarterback, right now to start your franchise, I know a lot of you will take Mahomes. Herbert is up there. He's up there with all the elites right now. He's playing that well. And how about Eckler? The all-purpose back Eckler. He does it all. He does it all. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. He scores touchdowns. He does it all. I love what I see from the Chargers right now. This is a spectacular game. I'm going to move the line to 9.5 and take the Chargers. You have to think this is a field goal game either way. Hard to pick a winner here. The Chargers have been good to me. I've been picking them a lot. I've been winning with them a lot. I'm going to move it to 9.5. That's the safe way to go here. Take the Chargers in a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 2. Make sure you watch that football game. Pick number 3. Let's go down to Carolina, where the Carolina Panthers are -1.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. Carolina down to 3-2, lost to Philly. Darnold did not play well. Another team that can't just punt the ball. They get a punt block, changes the whole complexion of the game. Also, Carolina had a chance to fall on the ball in the end zone to extend their lead. Instead, they couldn't do it like 3 different times. They ended up getting a safety, kept Philly in the game. That was a bad loss for Carolina. They're starting to go in the wrong direction. Need McCaffrey back and healthy. Minnesota, they're up to 2-3, beat Detroit. Almost gave the game away. Again, bad fundamental football. They're up 7 trying to run the clock out. They fumble the football. Detroit recovers, scores, goes for 2, goes up 1, but Minnesota gets back down the field, kicks the game-winning field goal. Minnesota up to 2-3. Cousins played well. Madison, who's filling in for Cook, ran the ball well, but he can't fumble there at the end of the game. Lets Detroit back in the game, but Minnesota does win. They're up to 2-3. I'm going to move the line to 7.5 and take the Vikings. This is, flip it a coin type of game. This game could go either way. So I feel very comfortable with 7.5 and a 2-team teaser. The Vikings are going to be at least in the game. In the game. Carolina doesn't score a boatload of points. I think this game is going to be very, very close. I love the 7.5 here with Minnesota. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from where I am here, with the LA Rams are -10.5 against the New York Football Giants. Rams up to 4-1, beat Seattle on Thursday Night Football. They were in a real battle there. Then Russell Wilson went out. Geno Smith comes in. Forget about it. Rams win. I'd like to see the Rams play a little better on defense. A little better on defense. You look at their stats through the first 5 weeks, not dominant. Like them to play a little better on defense. But the Rams, you have to think, are definitely a contender in that NFC. Giants, well, their fun lasted 1 week. Had the nice win in New Orleans. They lose to Dallas. They're 1-4. Listen, too many injuries. I can't even pick on the Giants. They're decimated with injuries. Jones goes out with a concussion. Barkley goes out again with an ankle. Galladay hurt. They got injuries all over the field. They hung in with Dallas for a while, but you cannot overcome this amount of injuries, especially when you're a team like the New York Football Giants. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Too many injuries. Too many injuries. So I can't even pick on them too much. They're decimated with injuries. And you can't expect them with all these guys out to beat teams like Dallas, and now to beat a team like the Rams. Not going to happen. Again, 3-team teaser. I said take the Colts in a 3-team teaser. Take the Rams in a 3-team teaser. Move it to like 1.5. You have to think the Rams are going to win. You like the Giants? Who's playing for the Giants? Is Jones even going to play? Even if he does, you still like the Giants? You can't. You can't. You can't. Too many injuries. Decimated. I like the Rams. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. Another really good game on the docket here where the Cleveland Browns are at home in the dog pound. -3 against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona up to 5-0. Beat San Francisco. Only undefeated team left in the NFL. Didn't look great in this game, Arizona, but got the W. Cleveland, they're down to 3-2. Like I said, lost a heartbreaker to the Chargers. Cleveland has lost 2 heartbreaking games this year. One to Kansas City, one to the Chargers. In these high-scoring, just wacky games. Wacky. Another tremendous game. Again, if I asked you who was going to win this game, could you tell me, really? Could you tell me? You got to think it's going to be close. So that's why I would move this line to 9 and take Arizona in a 2-team teaser. Because if you asked me who was going to win, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. It's that even of a game. Point spread does nothing for me at 3. Means nothing. 9, I'm sliding towards Arizona. Another must-watch game. Cleveland, Arizona, Baltimore Chargers. Circle those games. I like Arizona in a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. This is the Sunday night football game. Listen, when the schedule came out, I'm sure they thought this game was going to be good, but it's kind of deteriorated now. Let's go to the Steel City in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are at home -5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle down to 2-3, lost to the Rams. They lose Wilson for at least a month, maybe 2. Now Seattle's in all kinds of trouble with the backup quarterback. All kinds of trouble in that division, in that conference. Not looking good for Seattle. Pittsburgh, they're up to 2-3. They beat Denver. Pittsburgh looked good in this game on offense. Finally got that rushing game going with Harris. Made some big plays in the passing game with Claypool. They lose Juju Smith for the rest of the year with a shoulder injury. Pittsburgh offense looked good in this game. They did. That was probably their best offensive game of the year. They held on to beat Denver. Denver almost rallied back in this game. Pittsburgh did get the win. This game with Seattle's quarterback being out is just messy. I would probably move it to pick them in a 2-team teaser and take Pittsburgh just because Russell Wilson is out. I mean, can you really like Seattle here? Can you really like him? Did you see Geno Smith? First of all, I didn't even know Geno Smith was still in the league. And did you see him last week? He was flat out awful. He was flat out awful. So I don't trust him at all. I didn't trust him, a decade ago. Can't believe he's still in the league. You trust him here? It's not a great game. It's not a great Sunday night game. If I had to pick it, I'd say the Steelers win just because Seattle's playing Geno Smith. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. My bags are packed. Again. I went to London last week to watch Atlanta and the Jets. I had so much fun. I'm going right back to London this week. Where the Miami Dolphins are -3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the game we gave London, England. Oh, you give them Falcons, Jets, and now you give them Jaguars, Dolphins. Say it ain't so. Oh, England, I apologize. I apologize that we're giving you these games. I mean, this isn't exactly Dallas, Tampa. I mean, this is what you give in England? Miami, Jacksonville, oh no. But my bags are packed. I wouldn't miss this. How could you possibly want to miss this game? Miami 1-4. Was down 7 points going into the fourth quarter against Tampa Bay, then completely got torn apart in the fourth quarter. Big plays all over the field. Miami defense atrocious. Since their week 1 win against New England, I think they've given up 35 points a game. You can't win giving up 35 points a game. And I don't want to hear that 2 is out. I get it. The Dolphins were 10-6 last year. 10-6 to this? 10-6 to this. 10-6 to this. As they say in Miami, they like to say fins up, fins down. And I tried with Miami. I've tried with them this year. I thought we'd get some life out of them. They are embarrassing. I said last week they're not like the Texans. They're pretty close. You can't give up 35 points a game and expect to win. And then you have Jacksonville. 0-5. They've now lost 20 straight football games. Let me say it again. Jacksonville has lost 20 straight football games. Hard to believe. Kept it close for 2 quarters against Tennessee. Completely got manhandled in the second half. Then you got the Urban Meyer story, the video of him with the girl dancing. Then Urban Meyer a couple weeks ago doesn't fly home with the team. Here we go. Urban Meyer, how do you not fly home with your team? You're the head coach. You're the head coach. You don't fly home with your team? Oh, my goodness. We've lost 20 in a row, guys. You take the flight home. I'm going to hang around over here. Catch you during the week. Have a safe trip. Oh, my goodness. I told you about Urban Meyer when he took this job. He is not going to have the patience for this. He's used to winning big. He's had health problems in the past. Urban Meyer could be out after 1 year looking for a college job. Doesn't fly home with his team. Oh my goodness, and then you got the video of him with the dance and all. Miami minus 3 against I'm not picking this game. On general principle, I can't pick this game. 0-0 tie in London. 0-0 tie in London. What a disgraceful football game we gave London, England, and now the NFL says they want to expand, to other countries. They want to play games in Germany and Canada and Portugal and Australia and here on the moon, everywhere. I cannot believe they gave London back-to-back games like this. Atlanta, Jets, Miami, Jacksonville. Oh my, but I'm going. My bags are packed. Who is with me? Let's go! 0-0 tie. My goodness, I cannot believe that Miami can't handle a team like Jacksonville. You'd think they'd be able to, right? 0-0 tie in London. Awful. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. This is the Monday Night Football game. Another very good game with the Buffalo Bills on -5 against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee up to 3-2. I just mentioned they beat Jacksonville. Buffalo up to 4-1, beat Kansas City. Allen played well. Buffalo, one of the elite teams in the AFC. They're right there. One of the favorites now to get to the Super Bowl. One of the favorites out of the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. And there are others. There are others. I understand that. Buffalo looks real good. They're firing on all cylinders. This is a very good game, a tough game. I'm going to move the line to 11 and take Tennessee. I have Tennessee at home with 11 points. Tennessee's a flaky team, very flaky. They usually play the really good teams well. Then sometimes they have a letdown against a team like the Jets. I think this will be close. It's a tough game. It's not one of my favorite plays. Buffalo is firing on all cylinders now. They're scoring a boatload of points. But I like taking home teams that are good with a lot of points. And that's the case here. I think Tennessee's good despite the loss to the Jets. They're getting 11 points. Monday Night Football. I'll go that way. Very good game. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go up to New England with the Dallas Cowboys on -4.5 against the New England Patriots. Dallas up to 4-1, beat the Giants. I feel like I'm watching the same movie with Dallas. Their offense looks awesome. The defense much improved. Dallas Really, really good team. I think they're a contender in the NFC. And to me, they're the class of the NFC East. They should run away and hide in that division. New England, they're up to 2-3. I mentioned they came back and beat the Texans. Again, and this is what happens when you pick games early in the week. You just don't know. The New England whole offensive line, all 5 offensive linemen were out last week. All 5 of them. The whole offensive line was out. So you got to check the injuries before you pick these games. I'm picking these games on Tuesday. I mean, during the week, I'm saying New England's got this offensive lineman out, that one out, this one out. The whole offensive line is out. Now, New England still came back and won, but you got to check those injuries. You got to see who's in the lineup. How many offensive linemen are going to play this week for New England? It's a very strange game. Again, I'll probably, if I go teaser, I'll move it to 10.5 and take New England. You get New England at home with 10.5. The last time they were home, they almost beat Tampa Bay. You got to check this offensive line situation. If you asked me who was going to win, I would say Dallas squeaks it out. Squeaks it out. They've been playing so well. But that 10.5 with the teaser is awfully tempting to me. I get New England at home with 10.5. They almost beat Tampa a couple weeks ago at home. If the offensive line is somewhat healthy, I think they can hang in the game. If you ask me who's going to win, I'd probably say Dallas ekes it out. It's another tough game, a strange game. There's a lot of that this week. There's been a lot of that. Can go either way here. But I'll go teaser, 10.5. I'll take New England. That's pick number 9. How about them Cowboys? You know I have to get that in. Pick number 10. Let's go to the Motor City in Detroit. Again, here we go. In these next few picks, I mean, just bizarre stuff. The Cincinnati Bengals are minus 3.5 in Detroit. Detroit 0-5 lost to Minnesota. Detroit has lost heartbreakers a bunch of times this year. Right at the final gun, they lose to Baltimore, they lose to Minnesota, losing in all sorts of crazy ways. The coaches having breakdowns in the postgame. Just strange stuff. Detroit still winless, 0-5. Cincinnati, they're down to 3-2. Talk about strange. Lost to Green Bay. Did you see the end of this game? Where the Green Bay and Cincinnati kickers are both missing game-winning kicks. Miss. Finally, Green Bay gets the win. Cincinnati thought they had won the game. The kicker is celebrating. Meanwhile, the kicker's sailing left. Oh, what a wacky game that was. Cincinnati's much improved. That was a heartbreaking loss for them. This is another bizarro game. Especially the way Detroit has played. Especially the way Detroit has played at home. They've been in some wacky games at home. Where they come storming back at the end and fall short. Weird. I'm going to move it to 9.5 and take Detroit. Again, not one of my favorite plays, but the couple times Detroit has been home this year, the games have come right down to the end in some wacky fashion. Maybe that happens again here. And Cincinnati, you saw they had a crazy game last week too. Do I think Cincinnati's better? Yes. But as far as the teaser, I'll go 9.5 and say Detroit hangs around. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11, here we go again. It just goes on and on. Let's go to the Windy City in Chicago, Soldier Field. By the way, they say Chicago, the Bears may move out of Soldier Field in a couple years. They may have a new stadium. New stadium in another part of Illinois. I really like Soldier Field. A lot of tradition. I would hope the Bears would stay there. But, if they're going to build them a brand new shiny stadium somewhere else in Illinois, they might go. The Green Bay Packers are minus 5 against the Chicago Bears in a classic rivalry. Packers up to 4-1. I mentioned they beat Cincinnati in a wild game. I'll tell you, if the game is close, 9 out of 10 times Aaron Rodgers is going to pull it out. 9 out of 10 times Rodgers is going to get them down the field. And the Packers have won 4 in a row since the awful Week 1 loss to the Saints. Chicago, listen, let's give them credit. They're up to 3-2. They've won a couple in a row. They beat Vegas. Fields didn't have to do much. Relied on that running game, relied on the defense. How good was the Chicago defense against Vegas? How good was Mr. Mack? And by the way, I told Raider fans this for years. Why did the Raiders let Mack leave? You have to keep defensive guys like that. It's an offensive league. Defensive guys can wreck the game. And Mac completely wrecked this game. Completely wrecked it. Nothing messes up a good passing offense than a good pass rush. And Mac totally wrecked this game. So the Bear defense, the Bear running game was good despite not having Montgomery. Like I said, Fields didn't have to do a lot. Second straight week, the Bears win and they had more rushing yards than passing yards. But they're getting it done. They're up to 3-2. Let's give them some credit. Because I hammered them early in the year. This is a classic rivalry. This is another bizarro game. Because you got the better team on the road giving points. It's just weird. It's just weird. Like the last couple games. Dallas, New England, Cincinnati, Detroit. Just weird games. I'll stick with the same pattern. I'll move it to 11 and I'll take Chicago. Green Bay's been on a lot of close games. Chicago's been in a lot of close games. I think in Soldier Field, Chicago can at least keep it close. Again, like last week, I don't like going against Aaron Rodgers because he always seems to pull the game out. But like last week, I can't turn down the points, especially in the teaser. So yes, Green Bay did win last week, but I did cover with the teaser with the Bengals. So I'm going to move it to 11 and take Chicago. Again, these last three picks, Green Bay, Chicago, Cincinnati, Detroit, Dallas, New England, don't love them. But I'll stick with the home teams and the points in the teaser. Not saying these teams are going to win outright, but I'm going to go teaser with these three teams. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12, let's go down to Washington, D.C., with the Kansas City Chiefs are minus 6.5 against the Washington football team. Washington down to 2-3, lost to New Orleans. Washington gives up a Hail Mary at the end of the half. Just awful. What happened to Washington's defense? Washington's calling card last year was their defense. That was their bread and butter. What happened? They also, like Miami, are giving up over 30 points a game. You can't win in this league like that. What happened to Washington's defense? Speaking of bad defense, how about the Chiefs? They're down to 2-3, got carved up by Buffalo. The Chiefs' defense has been awful. And I said that last week. You can't just rely on Mahomes and the offense to win these games. Other teams are starting to catch up to that Chief offense. They have to play some sort of defense. They haven't been doing it. So no matter how good Mahomes and the offense is, you can't score when you're on the sidelines. I'm going to move it to 12.5 and take Washington. Again, it's like the last three games. It's a strange game. You think the better team's on the road. It's just wacky. I'll move it to 12.5 and take Washington. Kansas City's giving up too many points. Washington is built to kind of defend against Kansas City. They haven't shown it this year. They are built to play a team like the Chiefs. Washington's supposed to have a good defense. Hasn't happened so far. I would also look for the over in this game, weather permitting. Both of these teams have been scoring some points. Kansas City scores and gives up points every week. And Washington, like I said, they're giving up 30 points a game themselves. I would look over here. I'll move it to 12.5 and take Washington. Again, like the last three games, don't love it. Pick number 13. Remember, we only have 14 picks this week because 4 teams on a bye. Pick number 13. Let's go to the Thursday night game in Philadelphia. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are minus 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Tampa Bay up to 4-1 beat Miami. Brady hurt his thumb. He says he's fine. Tampa Bay, big plays all over the field against Miami. Tampa Bay, obviously one of the favorites to get back to the Super Bowl. Philly, they're up to 2-3. Had a nice greedy gutty win against Carolina. I thought they were dead and buried in this game. Came back and won. I don't know what to make of Philadelphia. I don't know what to make of young quarterback Hurts. He was pedestrian-like in this game. I don't know what to make of Philadelphia. To me, they look like a mediocre team. They look like an 8-8 at best. I don't know what to make of them. This was a nice win in Carolina. They showed a lot of moxie in this game coming back and winning. I don't bet Thursday Night Football, so I won't bet this game. If I had to play it, I'd probably move it to 13 and take Philly. Short week, home team, Philly coming off a nice win. Brady with the hurt thumb. Don't love it, though, because Tampa can explode on you at any time. So to me, I don't love this game. And I don't bet Thursday Night Football. And I don't recommend you bet it either. But I would probably go 13 with Philly. I like taking those home teams on Thursday Night Football, especially getting a boatload of points. Road team has very little time to prepare. They got to travel as well. But again, not one of my favorite plays. It is tough sledding this week, especially with these last few picks. Tough sledding. That's how I would go with that. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14, the final pick. And again, it's tough. Let's go to the Mile High City in Denver, where the Denver Broncos are -3 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Denver down to 3-2, lost to Pittsburgh. Bridgewater did play. Denver was awful in this game, but tried to rally late. Almost got the game tied, but fell short. Denver's going in the wrong direction all of a sudden. Played well the first 3 weeks, didn't play well at all the last 2 weeks. And then you got the Las Vegas Raiders. They're 3-2. They've lost a couple in a row. They lose to Chicago, look lifeless. And oh, by the way, now you got Gruden gone. Gruden gone with all the emails and all that. He's gone. So you don't know what you're getting here from the Raiders. The offensive line has been terrible. A million penalties. You don't know how they're going to play, how they're going to respond. What do you do here? Two teams going in the wrong direction. To me, this is a throwout. Normally, if everything was fine, I'd go Raiders +9 in a teaser. You would think it'd be a close game. But the Raiders got all sorts of issues here. Most people this week, I think, would take the Broncos. They're home, and the Raiders just got too much going on. To me, I'd throw this game out. I'd throw this game out. And the whole John Gruden situation with these emails and what he said, and he resigns, I mean, just awful stuff. I mean, and the Raiders weren't playing good to begin with. And their offensive line is atrocious. And as usual, they take 100 penalties a game. So they got all sorts of problems, the Raiders. Oh my goodness. I would throw this game out. I would think most people would take Denver just because the Raiders have all these issues, especially with Gruden, being released now. I would throw the game out. So it is a tough week. As a matter of fact, this might be a week where you take the week off. I always tell you don't have to bet every week. You don't have to bet every game. You don't have to bet the Super Bowl. Maybe take this week off or just pick a couple games. A lot of these games are strange, and it's been like that the last couple weeks. It's been like that. I was 11-6 last week, 10-6 with the picks. I had Kansas City, Buffalo over 65-22 the first 5 weeks. Can't complain about that. And you're starting to see who the pretenders are and the contenders are now. Dallas, to me, looks like the class of the NFC East. Green Bay looks like the best team in their division. Tampa Bay, again, a contender. Arizona and the Rams, you have to figure are going to be there. Maybe the Saints, Chicago, make a playoff push. As far as the AFC, you got to think the Bills. You got to think the Chargers. Ravens are doing a nice job. You got to think the Titans are the class of their division. Browns, you got to think they're a good team. And then you got the rest. Cincinnati looks improved. Who knows about Vegas now? Who knows about Denver now? Who knows about Kansas City now? The others you could probably forget for the most part. You're kind of seeing who's the contenders now. Kind of seeing it. But it is tough picking games. Who's out with the virus? Who's out with injuries? What quarterbacks are out? What coach is getting in trouble? Sloppy football, bad fundamental football. You're seeing it all over the league. All over the league. Not crisp football. You got games in London. It's just been sloppy. It's been choppy. So proceed with caution this week. Maybe take this week off. I may take this week off from betting. There are a lot of strange games here. Maybe regroup in week 7. But anyway, you're all caught up. Thanks as always for the support. The best audience in all of YouTube is right here. The most loyal audience in all of YouTube is right here. The most knowledgeable audience in all of YouTube is right here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Take care.